Letter from an Unknown Woman is one of Stefan Zweig's classic works, earning him the title of the writer who understands women best. A woman spends her life loving a man who never remembers her. Why is her story so profoundly moving? Zweig's Letter from an Unknown Woman captures the hidden depths and sacrifices of women in love through a single, poignant letter. Why does this slim novel, less than 100 pages, continue to touch countless readers across a century? Let's step into the twilight of Vienna, following an unsigned letter, to explore the fervor of love, the cruelty of fate, and the subtleties of human nature. Vienna's twilight, Zweig and his era. Stefan Zweig, an Austrian writer, was born in 1881 in Vienna, a city gilded with splendor yet shadowed by looming crises. As a Jewish intellectual, he grew up during the final glory of the Habsburg Empire, witnessing Europe's descent from prosperity to collapse. Vienna's coffee houses brimmed with music and philosophy, but its streets were steeped in moral constraints and class barriers. Zweig's writing, known for its nuanced psychological insight, captures the pulse of his era, as seen in The World of Yesterday, which mourns Europe's lost grandeur, and Letter from an Unknown Woman, which delves into individual emotional struggles amid societal tides. Written in 1918, just after World War I, the letter emerges from a Vienna reduced from imperial capital to ruins. Post-war, women's status saw slight progress, yet traditional norms still bound love and marriage to societal expectations. Influenced by Freudian psychology, Zweig masterfully probes the subconscious, drawing on concepts like libido and repression from his discussions with Freud's students in Vienna's coffee houses. These ideas manifest in the protagonist's obsessive love and self-suppression. Vienna is not just a setting but a psychological atmosphere. In the late 19th century, Vienna's opulent surface masked contradictions. Bourgeois extravagance coexisted with poverty, and women were confined by domestic and social expectations. Zweig's sister, Maria, noted how Viennese noblewomen hid their longing for freedom behind forced smiles at balls. This atmosphere shapes the protagonist's hidden passion. Her love burns fiercely but can only bloom in secret. Zweig's context sets the tone. A woman's unrequited love for a man is both a personal tale and a metaphor for the era's oppression and gender struggles. His own tragic life adds depth to the story. In 1939, Zweig fled to London, and in 1942, despairing over Europe's future, he and his wife died by suicide in Brazil. His life, like an unsent letter, echoes the protagonist's fate. Why does a man's indifference drive a woman to devote her life to him? Zweig's letter invites us into her inner world, weaving love with the constraints of her time. The woman in the letter, the psychology and tragedy of unrequited love. The novel centers on an anonymous letter sent to a writer named R, penned by an unnamed woman. She confesses a lifetime of unrequited love. From a 13-year-old girl to a 36-year-old mother, she loves R, yet he never truly remembers her. Told in the first person, the letter opens with a gut-wrenching line, "My child died yesterday. You never knew me, but I loved you my entire life." Let's call the protagonist Elena, fitting her refined persona. At 13, living across from R's apartment, she first sees the charismatic writer and is captivated by his charm. She spies on his life, collects his books, and lingers outside his door at night. At 18, a brief three-night encounter with R makes her believe love is possible, only to realize he has forgotten her. Years later, as a single mother raising R's child, she sends him flowers anonymously until writing this letter before her death. Psychologically, Elena's love unfolds in three layers. Initial infatuation. At 13, in the throes of puberty, Elena projects her emotions onto an idealized figure, as Freud describes in 3 essays on the theory of sexuality. R's writerly aura becomes her escape from a mundane life. Like Freud's patient Anna, whose infatuation stemmed from emotional voids, Elena's love is a yearning for something greater. Her unstable family life, her mother's remarriage makes her emotional anchor. Self-suppression. Elena never voices her love, choosing silent observation and sacrifice. This restraint aligns with Vienna's societal expectations for women to remain reserved even in love. Like Marie Festetics, a lady-in-waiting to Empress Sissi, who secretly loved a nobleman but never confessed, Elena's silence reflects societal conditioning. She writes, "I didn't dare disturb your life, I only wanted to watch you from afar." This restraint erases her sense of self. Obsessive compulsion, her love becomes a psychological fixation, akin to Jung's concept of a complex, driving repetitive behavior. Knowing R doesn't love her, she persists in sending flowers and raising his child, finding meaning in pain. This mirrors Marguerite Duras' The Lover, where unrequited love leads to emotional desolation. R, the male protagonist, is a symbolic figure. His indifference reflects male privilege in a patriarchal society. He bears no responsibility for emotions yet reaps devotion. His life of pleasure, flitting between women without recalling their faces, underscores the era's gender inequality. The climax arrives with Elena's death and the letter's delivery. She writes, "I never wanted you to love me, I only wanted you to know I existed." The letter is both a confession and an indictment of fate. Her tragedy stems not just from unrequited love but from the era's constraints on women. Zweig peels back Elena's inner world, stirring both admiration for her devotion and sorrow for her end. The Prison of Love, Themes and Imagery. Letter from an Unknown Woman is more than a love story. It's an allegory of fate, female consciousness, and human struggles. The fervor and destruction of unrequited love. Unrequited love drives the narrative. Elena's passion is almost religious, with R as her deity, worthy of total sacrifice. Zweig uses the white rose as a symbol. Elena's annual gift to R represents purity and selflessness but foreshadows love's inevitable withering. This echoes Goethe's Faust, where Gretchen's daisies symbolize doomed love. Elena's love, shaped by societal pressures, traps her in a self-made illusion, as psychology links unrequited love to idealizing the beloved. The cruelty of fate. The tragedy lies in fate's unpredictability. Elena's child dies, and R remains oblivious. Her life's devotion yields nothing. This recalls Sisyphus' futile labor in Greek mythology. Letter from an Unknown Woman by Stefan Zweig is a literary masterpiece that delves into the depths of unrequited love, societal constraints, and the human condition. The story unfolds through a poignant letter from an unnamed woman to a writer named R, revealing her lifelong, unreciprocated devotion. Why does this slim novel, written in 1918 Vienna, continue to resonate with readers worldwide a century later? Let's journey into Vienna's twilight, guided by this anonymous letter, to explore the fervor of love, the cruelty of fate, and the complexities of human emotion. Vienna's twilight, Zweig and his era. Stefan Zweig, born in 1881, was an Austrian writer immersed in Vienna's golden yet fragile atmosphere. A Jewish intellectual, he witnessed the Habsburg Empire's decline, capturing its essence in works like The World of Yesterday. Vienna's coffee houses buzzed with music and ideas, but its streets were bound by rigid social norms and class divides. Written post-World War I, Letter from an Unknown Woman reflects a shattered Vienna, where women's roles were slowly evolving yet still confined. Zweig, influenced by Freud, wove psychological depth into his tales, drawing on concepts like repression and desire. Vienna is more than a backdrop, it's a psychological landscape of hidden desires and societal pressure. The city's contradictions, wealth versus poverty, freedom versus restraint, shape the protagonist's silent passion. Zweig's own tragic end, fleeing to London in 1939 and dying by suicide in Brazil in 1942, mirrors the story's themes of despair and unfulfilled longing. The Woman in the Letter, a psychological portrait. The novel's heart is a letter from an unnamed woman, let's call her Elena, detailing her unrequited love for R. Age 13 to 36, her life revolves around R, though he never truly knows her. Her opening words grip the reader. My child died yesterday, you never knew me, but I loved you my entire life. At 13, living opposite R's apartment, Elena is enchanted by his charm, spying on him and collecting his works. 18. A fleeting romantic encounter with R fuels her hopes, only for him to forget her. As a single mother raising R's child, she sends him anonymous flowers until her final letter before death. Psychologically, her love unfolds in layers: infatuation, suppression, and obsession. Her adolescent fixation on R, as Freud might suggest, stems from projecting dreams onto an idealized figure. Her silence reflects Vienna's expectations of female restraint, akin to historical figures like Empress Sissy's confidant. Her obsession, a Jungian complex, drives her to find meaning in pain, like Dora's protagonist in The Lover. R embodies male privilege, living freely while Elena sacrifices in silence. Her letter, sent as she dies, is both a confession and a protest against her fate. Themes and imagery: love's double edge. The novel explores unrequited love, fate, female consciousness, and loneliness. Elena's devotion, symbolized by white roses, is pure but doomed, like Gretchen's daisies in Faust. Fate's cruelty, her child's death; R's ignorance echoes Sisyphus' endless struggle. The letter itself, anonymous and unanswered, mirrors her powerless existence. Elena's faint feminist awareness clashes with her self-sacrificial role, set against Vienna's oppressive knights. Her loneliness, craving connection yet isolated, reflects modern alienation, symbolized by the unopened door to R's world. Narrative artistry: a masterful structure. Zweig's epistolary form draws readers into Elena's soul, her one-sided confession amplifying her isolation. The non-linear timeline, from childhood to death, builds suspense and empathy. R's perspective, left vague, invites readers to imagine his detachment, a technique akin to James the Turn of the Screw. Zweig's Freudian-inspired psychological details Elena's racing heart; her hesitant gifts create vivid intimacy. The narrative's rhythm crescendos to her death, her calm farewell deepening the tragedy. Timeless resonance: why it endures. The novel's universal themes, love, loss, and identity, transcend its era. Unrequited love remains relevant, mirrored in today's social media confessions. Elena's gender struggles echo ongoing inequalities, as seen in modern reports on women's emotional labor. Her fight against fate aligns with Camus' call to find meaning in absurdity. Her loneliness speaks to today's epidemic of isolation, urging mutual connection. Cultural impact: a literary legacy. Zweig pioneered psychological fiction, influencing writers like Kawabata and Munro. The novel's female perspective challenged male-dominated narratives, paving the way for Woolf's introspections. Its global reach, from China's 1,980 Seconds Zweig Fever to Zhu Jingli's 2014 film adaptation, proves its universal appeal. Reader connection: a mirror to the soul. Elena's raw emotion resonates, reflecting our own hidden loves and losses. Women especially connect with her silenced voice, a struggle still felt today. The story prompts reflection on how we define ourselves amid life's unpredictability. Conclusion: an eternal echo. Letter from an Unknown Woman is a mirror to love's passion, fate's harshness, and women's resilience. Zweig's delicate prose transforms one woman's story into a timeless classic. Elena's letter, though unanswered, ripples across time, touching our hearts. It asks, have you ever lost yourself in love? How do you face life's uncertainties? Let her courage inspire us to write our own stories, blooming for ourselves alone.